everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies. And as of me recording this video, yesterday we got ourselves a brand new teaser for the upcoming Toxic Avenger reboot. A movie that we thought was never gonna come out until Blade Disgusting went ahead and saved this movie and picked up distribution rights. We got ourselves a new teaser, and I wanted to pose the question of, will this new Toxic Avenger movie be as successful as some of other unrated hits like the Terrifier franchise? So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be talking about whether or not the new Toxic Avenger movie could be successful at the box office whenever it comes out August 29th. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on this Toxic Avenger reboot. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so if you didn't know, Legendary Pictures went ahead and made a reboot based off of the 1984 cult classic film, The Toxic Avenger. The film has an ensemble cast, including Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood. The film was made and was screened at Fantastic Fest in 2023 and was given a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was pretty good, but unfortunately, no other studio went ahead and picked up distribution rights for this film because they deemed the film unreleasable. Seeming like that this movie would never end up being released until January of 2025, where Cineverse went ahead and picked up the distribution rights for the Toxic Avenger and will be releasing the film unrated this Labor Day weekend. Now, Cineverse is the same company that went ahead and distributed the last two Terrifier movies, and I think it's because of the success that Terrifier 3 has had at the box office, grossing nearly $100 million with an unrated release and a budget of about $2 million. That led Cineverse to think, yeah, we think that we can deal and handle with the Toxic Avenger reboot, so let's pick up the distribution rights and release it this year, which I think is a good thing because it shows confidence that the studio or distributor has faith that this movie will do well in theaters. Now, like I said earlier on in the video, we did get a new teaser for the movie titled Miss Me, where it was essentially kind of like an advertisement for this fictional restaurant in this new Toxic Avenger movie, and then it cuts to some actual footage of the movie of Toxie going ahead and doing his thing and delivering some brutal justice. And I gotta say, I quite enjoyed this trailer. I liked how it was kind of like a parody for like a family restaurant, even though one of the menu items is clearly not kid appropriate. And I am also liking the action sequences that we are teased of here and some of the brutal and gruesome things that this Toxic Avenger will be going ahead and doing, like literally using his mop to literally tear somebody's jaw off. Like, I can't show that in the video because it's that gruesome, but it is gnarly to see and was awesome, and I'm kind of excited to see what else Toxie will be going ahead and doing in this movie. And I also like the design that they went ahead and chose for this Toxic Avenger, going with like a green skinned character. And yeah, I definitely like the look of this Toxic Avenger. At first when it was revealed, I was like, yeah, I don't really know, but I've really grown to really like that look of the Toxic Avenger. And even take a look at the one from the 80s, it was kind of like deformed and kind of ugly looking. So yeah, I kind of give this version of the Toxic Avenger a pass, especially with some of the promo materials, which we will get to in a bit. So yeah, this trailer was pretty good and got me excited to check out the movie. But that isn't what this video is about. This video is about whether or not this new Toxic Avenger movie will be successful at the box office whenever it releases. And the reason I ask this question is because if you've seen the original Toxic Avenger movie, I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it. It is known for having some humor and jokes that if they were told nowadays in 2025, they would get you canceled, like offensive jokes that you just can't really tell anymore. And from also what I've heard, the movie has had extreme violence and a lot of raunchy humor. And from this teaser, it kind of seems like that they're sticking with that raunchy humor and graphic violence. And I can't really tell on if they will have some offensive humor in this movie, but that's another reason why I'm kind of looking forward to this movie, to see how far they are going to go with like the violence. Because yeah, this movie was given an R rating by the MPAA, but Cineverse is releasing this movie unrated, and unrated is kind of like a big deal because it's basically like adult content without going to that NC-17 level. And usually unrated films don't really do that well at the box office, but Terrifier 3 proved that it can be successful if it is based off of good word of mouth. And The Toxic Avenger, I think, could benefit from word of mouth and that type of material that will be in this movie, like offensive humor that, yeah, I kind of am afraid of, because yeah, that type of humor is just not really for me, and it's just completely cancel worthy. But maybe they go ahead and surprise us and hey, we are going to be doing all of these offensive jokes that you probably would have seen back in the original 1984 movie. So that's something to keep an eye out for if you are planning to watch this movie. Beware of possible offensive jokes. But the big thing I want to talk about is its box office, because Cineverse, like I said before, is releasing this movie unrated, and basically unrated movies don't really do all that well at the box office. It's kind of like NC-17 movies in theaters. It's because you're cutting off such a big influential audience that would go to these movies based off of the rating of the movie. Sure, we have had a lot of successful R-rated movies recently, like Joker, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Oppenheimer, but really NC-17 just cuts off a huge audience because no one under the age of 17 is allowed, and theaters really don't show unrated movies that often. But again, with Terrifier 3 being unrated and was super successful at the box office, I don't really see a problem with the Toxic Avenger movie being successful in terms of the box office. What will matter though is how much Cineverse is going to market this movie, because if you don't market your movie, it will show in the box office. A prime example of that is The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, because Ketchup Entertainment really did not put that much marketing into the movie for general audiences, because they are the ones that don't know this movie is coming out. Us people online who obsess over movie news knew that this movie was coming out, but to the general audience, they just don't know that this movie was coming out thanks to Ketchup lacking in that marketing department, which ended up resulting in The Day the Earth Blew Up not making that much money at the box office during its opening weekend. And Cineverse seems to be really willing to put money into its marketing this movie, because we recently had someone dressed as this new Toxic Avenger in the Chicago Bay Area cleaning up the river because it was dyed green because it was a St. Patrick's Day celebration, and Cineverse thought, what great way to promote our movie. And yeah, I think that was pretty cool of them to do. They also have like a website which is like a presidential-esque campaign for promoting the character of Toxie and how good he is for society, which I think is pretty cool. I know that politics is kind of frustrating and I'm getting tired of politics, but I think for the Toxic Avenger, I think it's beneficial. So if Cineverse can continue pumping in that marketing money to go ahead and further market their movies, not just for trailers and TV spots, like having all these cool events like the Toxic Avenger cleaning up a river in Chicago, then you'll have a lot more general audiences who might not be aware that this movie is coming out going to the theater to check this movie out. And of course, you know that Terrifier effect is going to be for the Toxic Avenger, for the insane violence that we are going to be seeing in this movie. So that word of mouth could pull over towards this box office for the new Toxic Avenger being very well. But again, it has to be how much and how willing is Cineverse going to go ahead and market this movie. But overall, in the end, I think this movie will be successful at the box office. I think it's going to be received well. There might be some complaints if we do get some of that offensive jokes in the movie. But at the end of the day, Cineverse was willing to release this movie that was once deemed unreleasable, and the world could finally see this movie and not have it be buried and unreleased like the Batgirl movie. So I want to hear from you guys. Are you guys gonna go ahead and check out the new Toxic Avenger movie when it comes out in August? And do you think this movie will be successful? Go ahead and leave that down in the comment section, and while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.